Today we're going to talk about developing thesis statements. A clear, strong thesis statement will help you structure Essay 2. We'll start by looking at a sample outline for a literary analysis paper. This looks similar to the outline for the argument paper. You'll start by introducing the text, including the title and the author, plus the character that you've chosen to analyze. In the opening, you'll also state your thesis. And remember, you want to use vivid, engaging language to help grab your reader's attention and pull them into your essay. As we move into the body, you will present your main points one by one with supporting evidence from the text. Each point that you present should be its own paragraph. Each point should also connect back to your thesis statement. Finally, you'll review and emphasize the main ideas of your essay and end with something that has impact or something that will resonate with your reader. Remember, don't just repeat yourself. So, what is a thesis? A thesis states the main focus or point of your essay. It says something about your well-informed ideas regarding this character that you've chosen. Like it says here, a thesis statement has two parts, a topic and a comment. The topic indicating the subject of the essay, and the comment which makes an important, interesting, or arguable point about that topic. Let's look at a few key characteristics of an effective thesis statement. Sorry, I thought a different slide was going to pop up. It's specific and focused. It's clear. It gives direction to the remainder of the essay, and basically it's interesting. Your reader wants to keep reading. Now, let's look at some examples. Oscar's grandmother is an interesting character. Is this a weak or a strong thesis statement? If you said it was weak, you're right. This thesis statement is just stating a basic fact. Most characters are interesting. I'm sure there's a few that are pretty uninteresting, but I think in this book, most of the characters presented are interesting. In other words, no one would disagree with this statement. It doesn't interest the reader, and it doesn't really say anything. It's not making a significant comment about the character. Here's another example. Mr. Black illustrates how to heal and move on when he changes from a depressed, shouting shut-in to a healthy, happy friend. Is this thesis statement weak or strong? If you said strong, you're right. This thesis statement is saying something unique and also arguable. The reader has a clear idea of what the essay will talk about. It will go on to discuss how Mr. Black has changed throughout the story. You also want to notice that this thesis statement is following one of the options given to you in the assignment guidelines, which was to talk about how a character changes throughout the course of the book. Let's look at another example. Oscar's endless optimism helps guide him through his journey and ultimately leads him to accept his father's death and move on. Is this weak or strong? It's strong. This is another thesis statement that's making an argument about a character and not just stating the obvious. And again, the writer lays out a specific, focused, and clear idea showing what he or she will cover in the essay. The reader knows what to expect. And again, this is another thesis statement that uses one of the suggestions in the assignment guidelines. This one focuses on a central characteristic and how that characteristic has impacted the character. Here's another example. There are 3 stories in the book, including the renter's story, which tells of his struggles to show or say exactly how he feels. There are 3 ways the aftermath of his first tragedy has affected him: his losses, his silence, and the multiple events of miscommunication throughout the book. This is a thesis statement that I got in a paper last quarter. Is it weak or strong? If you said weak, you are right. This thesis statement is attempting to do way too much. First it says there's 3 stories, then there's 3 different ways the tragedy has affected the character. That's 6 different things the reader is supposed to keep track of, and that's way too much for a 4 to 5 page paper. Doesn't give me any hope or faith that the writer will be able to cover all of these topics in this amount of space. So this thesis statement needs to be focused in more and narrowed down significantly. One more thing I want to look at before I end. How do you cite the book for this paper? Well, this is a single source paper. We're only using one source, and that is extremely loud and incredibly close. So you do not need to do a works cited page. But I do ask you to provide, if you're reading a traditional book, page numbers from the passages that you are citing. If you're reading an ebook, don't worry about it. To cite to a particular page, just provide the number in parentheses after the quotations. You do not need to put page or p period, just the number, that's it. If you have any questions, send me a message on Canvas.